That was a surprisingly fun and different kind of duel. And I think Asuna, it was a really relatable antagonist and kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not burying the lead this week, everyone. I'm really satisfied with this. There's really no other way to look about it. So let's just get right on into it. So, where we last left off, the two maximum monsters were coming at each other. The cards were disintegrating. So clearly what that means is they're going to bust out some bullshit to save those highly marketable maximum monsters, and the whole duel will just be the maximum monsters fighting out to get you to buy their booster sets. Not actually. Yeah, the way they've handled these maximum monsters is actually quite different from what they've done with any other, shit they've tried to promote, really. Now, you could make the argument that they are promoting rush duels as a whole, but of course, big sexy summoning methods is how they sell this game. So naturally, you'd expect a lot of use of maximum, but no, they've only been in a couple of duels thus far, and they haven't necessarily been used in the simplest ways you'd expect. When Yuga fought Nail, the first time, Nail's entire deck is based around getting of these. It's not just heart of the cards, I drew them because of magic. It's like, no, he played an actual strategy to get to the cards he needed. But what was important was that in the next duel, it wasn't just Yuga's on the ropes. Now he's going to pull out of his ass his own maximum cards. He gets his maximum monsters out fairly early, and the rest of the duel is based around Nail, who knows he'll lose to them if they show up again, just trying to control the strategy of the game and to keep them from showing up. That's a lot more different compared to just be like, boom, here's a new Odd Eyes, boom, here's a new Stardust, boom, here's a new Code Talker monster. This is very different from what we usually get. So then you move on to the next round of maximum duels, and when Asunas show up, it becomes the driving force of the plot. How the heck did she get these? That's pretty neat, as opposed to most antagonist boss monsters, which just kind of get pulled out of their ass. So then you have this duel between Yuga and Asuna, and the maximum cards literally disintegrate and are removed from the game. That's different. That's unique. That's interesting. That is a legit what's the term that everyone always use? Subversion of expectations. That's what you get here. That was different and unique, and what the duel ultimately just came down to was these two just on equal footing, busting out boss monsters, using a strategy, and coming up with a way to overwhelm the opponent. That's Yu-Gi-Oh! That's how you play the game. And I feel like this sort of idea is in most duels in sevens. There's not the usual sort of anime logic of just a big boss monster that just always wins. I feel like most of the duels in sevens, at least the really good ones, you actually do get a sense of strategy. Yes, it's very simplistic strategy, but compared to a lot of times, I think the duels in sevens, this might be crazy to say, are a step above. Surprisingly enough. So yeah, that's really the best way to put it. It's just a really fun, entertaining duel. But what people are really going to take away from this is Asuna's motivation is kind of heartbreaking. So if we follow my timeline theory from last week, that's been about 80 years, that means a couple generations have passed since Asuna's family tried to make hologram technology that wasn't as good as the mainstream stuff that then got put to the wayside. Which means Asuna's family has had to live with that. And Asuna, probably from when she was a small child, was told this. And she kind of spent her whole life, which granted, she's 11, it hasn't been that long, but she spent her entire life just kind of wanting to reclaim that family honor, wanting to get it back. And what's smart about it is we weren't just expo dumped everything at the beginning. We were slowly, over the course of this character's time on screen, given things to where in this week, she was presented as sympathetic. She was presented as someone who's just trying to do the right thing for her family and the things she cares about. Again, it wasn't like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Villains as of late, where just everything gets spilled in front of you at the introduction. We were allowed to get to know this person and learn how she thinks and learn to like her. So when you get to the motivations, as silly as everything in Yu-Gi-Oh! Always is, I believe it because I was given time to care about this character. And that's what I really have to say about this. I just cared. Like, when you see, like, when R6 is breaking down and you genuinely see on her face, it's not some over-the-top crying scene. It's this, like, genuine feeling of just, like, what do I do? Like, you just see the way she's looking at this thing falling apart, and she just wants to, with every ounce of her being, fix it, but just fucking can't. And when you see, like, the whole club doing everything to rally behind her, we can infer, if we want, considering how big her family's company is, or was, that everyone here probably was in the same boat. Their families were working class families who worked for her family's company. So the more it crumbled and was absorbed by Goha and became less and less relevant, everyone here probably grew up with that desire to just maintain their family name and that sense of identity. I think, for as silly as it's represented, this is a really good storyline. This is a really good way to represent things, and what also helps is it feels uniquely different from what has been done prior in these shows. When we were focusing on Roa, when we were focusing on Nail, the way everything is presented to us is, they're fucking assholes. Like, especially Roa. Nail is kind of a weird victim of circumstance, but, like, these are characters who are not meant to be kind of likable. Now, Roa obviously has that almost like Dio-style charisma to him, but they are presented as not good people who will maybe by the time the show is over be better people, but Asana is never treated that way. And even in this duel, when Yuga wins, it's cool, but it's not treated as this, like, big, epic, crazy victory. It's sort of just treated like, okay, I now have her in a state where she'll listen to me and she'll let me help him. And because her introduction scene was them bonding over their love of machines, I fucking believe it. And I believe that is what happened here. And I like that we then got the Nail scene of just explaining, like, what the importance of this family was. But that came secondary to why we should care about Asana. And then we find that there's another lab hidden in the cave, which is what Yuga was after the whole time, where I feel like we just keep proving my theory that this company was competing against Kaiba Corp and had to then hide all the dual discs for a tax write-off. But no, so then they get that, and they fix R6, and they can update the machines, and they get Asuna on their side, and it's nice and it's pleasant, but I want to take a minute to talk about the other thing that happened this week, which was the way we then had the Helmet, the president of Goha, then, like, kind of explain what his nefarious plan to get Asuna on his side was. He's just manipulating this girl for his own goals, and considering it looks like up next we're going to start dealing with Goha more, because it's kind of what the opening implies. Yeah, this is kind of a pretty clever way to do it. After already getting us on Asuna's side and understanding her, to then reveal this just cruel puppet master just fucking with her to get what he wants, it's kind of a good way to immediately get you to understand why you shouldn't like this villain and why you should want to see Yuga and crew beat him, and also that he's not, like, he's a joke villain because it's silly and, like, he's heckling and he's a bucket. He's a bucket with eyes. But I kind of fucking hate him, and I want to see Yuga and crew get him. That's what he gets for making Asuna sad, damn it, and manipulating her. That is what he gets. Also, side note, this entire villain plan between Asuna's plan and Nail and the Helmet is a way more interesting and compelling plot than anything Academia or Zone wanted. I'm calling that now. So yeah, that was Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s this week. I really got into this. I can't help it. I really liked Asuna's stuff. I like the stuff with the talking helmet. Like, it's fun and it's relatable, weirdly enough. So yeah, that was Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s this week. And as for the TCG question of the week, so it is looking like our ban list is coming middle of March, which makes me laugh because it's funny to watch other Yu-Gi tubers bitch and moan and figuring out what they're supposed to do about content every day. So my question for you is, do you think ban lists should come out when the date is okay? Or do you think it's okay to be like, it can happen here, but it's probably going to be timed to work by like a major release or anything like that? Because as far as I'm concerned, there was no logical reason to put the list out until Ghosts of the Past is here and the Firewall Dragon reprint is out in circulation. That's reality, everybody. Like, welcome to it. So tell me what you think about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week because it looks like we have Roman facing her idol. Actually looks fun, not gonna lie.